Hello, 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 and welcome. Tuesday. That must mean it is our live Q&A. And I want to let everybody know that you are free to submit questions. I will do my best to answer those questions, uh, even if they might be slightly off topic. I'll put the spectacles on and I will get to your questions. Tuesday nights are all about your questions. Athletes, parents, family, coaches, all of the above. Want to say welcome to everyone returning from Columbus, Ohio, home of the ABCA, the American Baseball Coaches Association, where I was absolutely blown away at the amount of people that took the time to come over, say hello. We had our video crew. We have so much content that we are going to be putting out for you. I think we spent a combined 20 hours. Some of our talks with some coaches, equipment manufacturers, vendors, young athletes, high school coaches, college coaches, travel coaches, recruiting services. I want to say hi to C3 Recruits out in Southern California, Joey Santani. We spent some time together. Also got to spend some bonus time, with my son Tyler and Pitch Safe Corporation, Matt Tabor, Liam Kennedy, and Tyler Beede of Pitch Safe. First and foremost, want to let you know I must have run into a lot of college coaches, high school coaches that are now using the pro line ball. Wagner University, come on down. They are now using the pro line ball. Wake Forest, spoke to some folks that train with Bobby Witt Jr. He uses the pro line ball. My overwhelming sense is that a lot of facilities, indoor facilities, both baseball, softball, high school, college, even families with parents that have backyards set up with the hack attacks, so much equipment, the jugs machines, the hack attacks, and they're all glowingly raving about the pro line ball, both the seamed version as well as the no seamed version. If you are a coach and or you're a parent or you're a student athlete and you are looking for consistency with regard to ball flight, repetition, things of that nature, both offensively and defensively, cannot suggest more highly the pro line ball. You can utilize the code Blue Book, all one word, Blue Book, and you will get your 15% discount. Again, baseball and softball. Want to really start off by letting Miami, Mr. Canes Heat, you must be sky high for your Hurricane National Championship. Well deserved, by the way. You are a lifelong Canes fan, and I can tell you that a lot of people were talking about the Miami Hurricanes. I watched that game while we were in Columbus, as well as the Indiana Oregon game, and that's going to be an exciting national championship at the NCAA Division I football level. Well, I have to tell you, I want to say a heartfelt and deeply appreciative thank you to all of those coaches and vendors that took the time to say hello, spend some time speaking with me, sharing their thoughts. I was absolutely 1,000% blown away at the amount of people. It just keeps getting bigger, and I am grateful, and I am humble, and I am absolutely enthusiastically looking forward to a great 2026 in baseball. It officially kicks off at the ABCA. Everybody's practices are now live with regard to college baseball, JUCO, NCAA Division I, NAIA. All of the colleges now are kind of kicking into gear. Even if they're not in warm weather climates, they're doing their indoor thing, like here in the Northeast, obviously Midwest, down through the Mid-Atlantic. College baseball, spring training is around the corner. I do want to give a shout out to those that were thanking me. My youngest son, Tyler, received a big league spring training invite to the Chicago Cubs. So we'll be doing some spring training at facilities in Arizona. We'll be going to some college games. Really excited about our Diamond Duel segment that we are going to be doing and promoting with a lot of vendors that I had the time to discuss the idea and the concept. Think college game day and think about it at all levels of baseball, high school baseball, all levels of college baseball, even a little possible minor league and hopefully Major League Baseball, hopefully in the Windy City. We are going to be doing some Diamond Duel segments where we will be talking to coaches, getting a little thought on the series of the week, getting some discussion with the athletes, the strength and conditioning coaches, nutrition coaches at various schools and programs throughout the country, hoping to bring you some great content that'll be both educational as well as, authentic college atmosphere, and as well as some high school games, hopefully in greater New Orleans and greater Texas, in throughout the Houston area. And that's what we are excited about in 2026 is content, lots of content. We're going to elevate our community. And when I say our, nothing makes me prouder than to officially use the word prouder as far as our community is concerned. One thing is clearly evident from high school coaches, families, college coaches, professional coaches, and instructors. We ran into Clint Hurdle. We ran into a few minor league coordinators. We ran into Nate Trotsky. I was able to speak with Trent Mongero. We are going to just do our best within our community to build and share so that you can see firsthand, regardless of where you're from. Unbeknownst to me, we're being seen in Japan. We're being seen in Australia. We're being seen in Germany. Obviously, Canada. Spoke to a number of people from Canada. Spoke to people from the Dominican Republic. Spoke to people from Mexico. This is a big moment for myself personally, as well as the Blue Book family, the Pro Line baseball family. It is a big moment because our Tuesday segments are really building a community that we can all be proud of. And one thing was clearly evident before I get into tonight's topic, and that is all of the people, the great people, not only C3 recruits and Joey Santani, a number of different companies that help parents, help student athletes. We are going to be working together collectively and able to help families, athletes, organizations, because one thing was clear, there's a frustration across all of baseball with regard to the younger athletes. I can tell you definitively the number one topic from Major League Baseball, from all of college baseball, Little League Baseball, Babe Ruth Baseball, American Legion Baseball, travel baseball, was youth. It was the number one topic was the youth baseball developmental models and how they needed to be improved and lifted up collectively. Major League Baseball, Tony Clark, the president of the Major League Players Association. There were meetings between Major League Baseball and all of youth baseball. And I was fortunate to spend some time with Little League Baseball on several meetings, some travel discussion. There's a lot of great change ahead that will begin aggressively in 2026. Again, I want to remind you, live Q&A. If you have a question, please fire away. I will see it. I will make sure I answer that. And I will make sure that we, are able to deviate and get, even if you have a question that might be off topic. Tonight, I'm going to talk to you in very simple, direct terms in relation to several discussions that I had as they related with high school baseball. Oftentimes we under discuss and we cast what is often referred to as too much shade at the high school coaches. I was really grateful for all of the coaches that took the time to reach out and talk with me at breakfast, talk with me in the convention center, talk with me, in some of the private meeting rooms. And one of the things that I want to begin to get parents and student athletes to truly begin to understand and begin to implement is we need to allow the high school coaches to be able to do their job. So many times we're talking about summer ball, exposure, camps, all of these things in college baseball. And one thing that it was abundantly clear from the mouths and the discussions from the college coaches, they are taking a much deeper look, a much deeper approach with regard to their communication with high school coaches. We oftentimes kind of want to dismiss our high school season. We don't want to play JV baseball because, I play in a national travel baseball team. So I really don't, if I'm not going to make varsity as a freshman or a sophomore in high school, I'm not even going to play high school baseball. The overwhelming uh, kind of response to that was bad move, bad move. Now, parents and athletes, I want you to begin to understand and begin to embrace with all of these changes that we're dealing with, predominantly at the college level. And tomorrow is a very integral, very important day, as I believe the NCAA Division II, the president's athletic departments will begin to vote on whether or not to implement a fifth year of eligibility at the Division II level. I have to tell you, it was truly a 50-50 kind of pro and con type of discussion. A lot of the coaches that I talk with, Division II has a very unique rule. If you play 10 games or less, you get that automatic fifth year or redshirt year. There's going to be some qualifiers that are going to enhance that at the Division II level, but it's going to be a really big day tomorrow that I believe they're going to vote on that. And so, if it does come down to the NCAA Division II ratifying or accepting that vote as allowing a fifth year of eligibility, then the NAIA in April is going to be voting on that as well. Again, that's a hotly debated topic. I think it's ultimately going to work its way into the college game. There's too many other sports that are implementing really crazy, what I call radical type of rules. And so that all gets to the cause and effect to the high school athlete. And a lot of coaches, want to make it really clear that the high school athlete is still an integral part of their recruiting class, but it is going to become a harder landscape to navigate. We've talked about a multitude of options, and they really want the word to get out that with these changes uh, comes a different level, of evaluation with regard to the high school student athlete. And one of the things that I want you to understand, and one of our big topics was the high school coach's role with not only the implementation of things like the strength and conditioning, the nutrition, and the role that that genuinely plays, or better put, needs to play within the high school student athlete training regimen. Also, a lot of the discussion centered on the high school level was not denying high school athletes their ability to have a childhood, we talk about multi sports and this one sport focus, singular focus. Now, there's a lot of people who really strongly, vehemently disagree and try to say you have to focus on one sport. If you don't focus on one sport, the odds of becoming a college player are, probably slimmer. Where I fall on that. I think a lot of high school coaches will tell you that if you want to be a multi-sport athlete, great, but there also needs to be a time and a place for the strength, the nutrition, the size, the speed. It can all be included in one season. I think we're trying too hard as adults to take a eighth grader, rising freshman, rising sophomores, and even to some degree rising juniors, and escalate them into this world of exposure. And we need to be in camps. And what about recruiting? Uh, the one message loud and clear from the colleges at all levels and all divisions is you need to be physically, I mean, I can't under underscore, you need to be physically ready for college when you are graduating as a high school senior. And the earlier that message gets heard, that every year you are a high school student athlete matters, not just your junior and senior year. Don't worry about August 1st as much as we have been led to believe for maybe the top, let's even call it 5% of high school athletes, and that's being generous. August 1st will matter. But other than that, you can't be disappointed. You can't be deterred. You must continue to work hard all 4 years of your high school experience. Don't think past your freshman year. Maximize your freshman year. Maximize your sophomore year. And if that means playing football and baseball, maybe it means playing basketball, maybe it means playing soccer or ice hockey, great. But keep the eye on the strength, the size, the nutrition, the sleep, all of the things that go into being a student athlete. Let me check on a few things here. I know everybody's celebratory. Thank you very much for the congratulations with Tyler. I know everybody's very happy about the Miami Hurricanes. Thank you very much, Sean. So, when I'm talking to the coaches, all of them, almost to a man at every level, would say we now place more emphasis on that high school athlete that is really working towards physical development, not just a resume that has a travel or a showcase or a camp. There's a time and a place for those things, but they really value those athletes that might enter high school at, say, 145, but by the end of the freshman year in high school, get into that rising sophomore year, they're at that 158, 160 level. Then at the end of the sophomore year, going into that rising junior fall, they're in that 175, 185 window that shows progression. And now more than ever, can't stress this enough. Talk to the folks at Huddle. I talked to a lot of video, capture at all of the high school fields. All of these high schools are now placing cameras in their gymnasiums, on their football fields, on their soccer, baseball, lacrosse, field hockey fields. Parents, the world of Synergy or the world of Huddle, the video capture is silently tracking progression. Man, oh man, can't emphasize that enough. At the ABCA, one of the messages that came back loud and clear is, hey, we're putting together good quality camera systems throughout all of our high school, all of our, some of our travel tournaments, and they're tracking progression. They're tracking it, and they get that technology, their vernacular, scrape where, they're getting those velocities, those foot speed metrics, the size. They're able to follow athletes more aggressively, more consistently. Video technology as a whole, really ramping up at the high school level. And so, these things are extremely important for parents and student athletes to really begin to understand. Now, I want to have a really frank discussion with parents that may find their way to this video. And uh, Trevor, good evening from me to you to Mississippi. If you're a parent and you're finding your way to this, and let's say you are the parent of a young teenager, even an older high school student, and you're frustrated and you just don't know, geez, all these ages, it just gets older. We look at college basketball. We have a 21-year-old who was drafted in the NBA, and now he gets 4 years of eligibility at Baylor. Whether he uses them all or not, time will tell. But that means he's going to potentially play till he's 25. Football, we have athletes that are on their 6th year, and they're 24, 25. College baseball, college baseball, all of these changes that could be implemented, 24 and 25. And so what does that mean for the 18-year-old, the 19-year-old, even the 20-year-old? It means that we have to begin to have this big boy discussion on two topics that I'm going to cover right now. The first one is, if you take nothing away from tonight's phone call stream, I want you to understand that the vast majority of high school athletes across all sports, they are what I call and refer to as tradesmen, meaning they have a skill set that allows them to participate at the high school level, whether that's junior varsity or varsity. They are tradesmen. And as tradesmen, they simply show up and they put their time in, and they are working towards a goal, whether that means to become a varsity player from the JV, or as a varsity player, they want to start and get significant playing time. Those are tradesmen. They have the basic tools and skills that allow them to show up every day and participate in some capacity. What you, as parents and student athletes, need to immediately understand sooner rather than later is that your student athlete needs to go from tradesman to craftsman. You need to be an elite craftsman of their sport. In our case, baseball, softball. And what does it take to be a craftsman? Meaning, if I look at someone that frames a home, they typically are a carpenter, a tradesman. They build the four walls. The craftsman is who comes in, and the attention to detail that makes that house a home, the interior, the molding, all of the furnishings within the home, the railings, the steps, all of the things that add and enhance your home, your business. A craftsman, attention to detail. And the craftsman spends hours and hours, weeks, months, sometimes years, going from the tradesman to the craftsman, the hours of repetition, the boredom of repetition that allows them the sense of touch and feel to know when something truly is being elevated, a skill is being elevated. We spend so much time as parents understanding that, we want to get to that next level, regardless of where we are. We want to get to that next level. And then when we get to that next level, could we do better than that level? Could we do better than that school? Okay, Division III is recruiting us, or NAIA is recruiting us, but what about Division I? We got recruited by Division I, but can we do better than that school? Can we get to from a mid-major to a Power 4? Wow. College now is almost one level. The days of this is a mid-major, that's a Division III, that's a division, the lines are being blurred. And the sooner that you accept that and you begin to put your faith in your high school coaches and those coaches that are taking the time, trying to make sure that your student athlete goes from a tradesman to a craftsman, someone that has that skill, has that work ethic, has that desire and passion to enhance their skills, their size, their strength, their speed, obviously their school. Becoming a craftsman, you must understand that is what is required at every level of college athletics, regardless of whether you're talking about a community college slash JUCO college, an NAIA school. The NAIA in the mid majors within college, all of college baseball, have elevated because all of these athletes know that the one thing that they are seeking is that ability to not only participate in college baseball, but to get into these college summer leagues where the majority of college recruiting is taking place. And the sooner that we all understand that those days of being recruited as an eighth grader, a ninth grader, a sophomore in high school, those days are gone. They're gone. They're never coming back. Don't look for them. Somebody might say, well, this coach is talking to my coach. Okay, that's a minority. It's the exception. It's certainly not going to be the rule ever again. You must begin to accept that. And here's the other part of our discussions that I had with a great deal of great baseball minds in Columbus. We're never going back to the days of kind of high school classes being anywhere from 8 to 15, 17 students. Those days are gone. But the roster spots that are available in June and July, there's no restriction. If you're a high school student athlete and you are of the same physical size, strength, speed, skill as a college athlete, you will be able to get recruited. Even if you just graduated, there will be room at the end, regardless of what you're being told. A lot of bad information out there. Here's the two biggest misnomers that are being said. First of all, who's ever, I want to put this to bed permanently, who is ever telling you that JUCO college years don't count towards your 4 years of academic and athletics is wrong with capital W exclamation points. They count. The JUCO years count. Please, for the love of goodness, stop spreading that rumor. There is no such thing as JUCO years not counting towards your 4 or soon to be 5 years of eligibility. Next, here's the other big thing that you must understand. The days of big recruiting classes, they just don't exist anymore. And what you need to understand is for every athlete that has been recruited and committed in the 2027 class, please let us go back to October of 2025 and all of the 26 high school graduates that were told there's no room at the inn. You must understand you can make the commitments from now until the June of 27, June 1st of 27. You might have been committed as a 2027, but the coaches can change. The needs can change. Those things now are permanently part of college athletic recruiting, meaning I commit a 2027. I'm a coach at a college, and suddenly, and you're a right-handed pitcher, and we say to you, we definitely want you. That may be true, but that does not mean that it is 100% guaranteed to occur during your senior year, meaning maybe you top out, maybe you don't, maybe you plateau, and suddenly there's a run of athletes going into the portal or JUCO graduates that are right-handed pitchers. They're bigger, faster, stronger, skilled. So what we have to begin to understand is the landscape has changed. They're still dancing with high school athlete, but the music has changed. You must begin to understand that the high school coaches, if you commit as a 2027 and you're going out this spring and you're a junior in high school, you better be ready to put out a body of work that is commensurate with being a college recruited athlete. Don't just show up and go through the motions and think, well, nobody cares. I'm committed. Oh, that is not the case. College coaches they're communicating with high school coaches. They really need to see progress, progression, skill set development, size, strength. You can't just say, okay, I'm committed. My work here is done. No, no, no. The exact opposite. You better continue to put that pedal down on the metal and you better be pushing, working hard because you're not competing with your peers in high school. You're competing with the 2026 freshmen in college, the JUCO graduates, the NAIA, the guys that are striving to move forward. One thing is for sure, and the message is loud and clear. College athletes are always looking to move. Whether I agree with that or not, do I think changes are coming? I do, but as we sit here and talk today, January of 2026, college athletes are basically looking at, okay, I put together a good year. What is that going to get me? What is that going to take me? Which brings me to topic number 2. If you're a high school athlete, and there are high school athletes that do get name, image, and likeness, it's a select few. It's the minority. It's certainly not the majority. But parents and high school athletes, your first question to a college coach should not be, how much money are you going to pay me? How much money can I get from name, image, and likeness? Now, again, minority guys, big power hitters, both right-handed and left-hand power hitters that can, 10 to 20 pumps and home runs in a potentially in a college freshman year, they might get some money. Guys that are out here dialing it up from the left side or the right side at 93 to 96, they might get some money. But remember, with money comes expectation. With money comes productivity. If you get a big name, image, and likeness opportunity and you don't produce, that money is going to get pulled. And also the weight of expectation, the role that social media plays. So parents and athletes understand name, image, and likeness is for the select few. It shouldn't be at the top of your list as far as your first kind of question that we want to be asking to a college coach. We certainly don't want to have those dialogues as juniors in high school. If that's something that you're ultimately getting some draft love, or you have a major league tool, you have scouts sitting in your living room in the fall and the winter, okay, you've earned the right. You have some leverage, and maybe there's a name, image, and likeness discussion. But far, far too many athletes are getting bad advice from some, let's just say, deceptive folks. You need to beware of the name, image, and likeness agents that are trying to negotiate with schools, not with product or, vendors, glove companies, things like that. There are great, reputable name, image, and likeness companies that can help high school athletes with either local, food, fast food establishments or equipment manufacturers, because that's okay. But trying to negotiate a name, image, and likeness deal because you think you're as good as the number 6 ranked player in the country who got, 150 to 200,000. That is a big boy world. And when you get involved with big boy business, there's a lot of big boy heartache and heartbreak, and it comes with the territory. So if I were you, I would get really involved and engaged with things like, what is the college experience like at your school, academics? Can I get into the business school? You want to trade athletic ability for academic excellence. The vast majority of athletes, let's just use the number 90%. 90% of college athletes will not generate life-altering money, whether it be at the professional level or with regard to name, image, and likeness. That might change, but out of the gate, you want to be worried about things like your academics, getting into a good academic program. You want to maybe leverage some name, image, and likeness within the community of your college, things like that. But you want to avoid that name, image, and likeness talk unless you're a major league draftable athlete out of high school, which if we look back over the course of 2024 and 2025, and we looked at well over 73% of all MLB draft picks across 20 rounds in free agent are Division I baseball players. Notice I didn't say all of college baseball. All of college baseball might be closer to 80% of drafted athletes by Major League Baseball are college athletes. So understand, and one of the other big topics of discussion is all these changes. Trust me when I tell you, Major League Baseball is making an alliance. I'm going to use that phrase. Major League Baseball and college baseball are going to be making an alliance much, much stronger. Now, I predicted that in 2021 and 2022 and got laughed at. Doesn't matter to me. I'm just saying to you, going forward, Major League Baseball is going to play a significant role within college baseball. You can bookmark that January 26th. That's a fact, Jack. Let's get some questions answered here. Thank you, Charles. Very happy as a dad. Very, very happy. Hello from Arizona. You know that I'm going to be in the greater Mesa area. I'll be going over to Grand Canyon to see Greg Wallace. I'll also stop over to Arizona State, also do some JUCO baseball when we're out in Arizona. What is a good way coaches are looking at for various levels to get recruited? Okay, that's a great question. Charles, thank you so much. I appreciate your comment about Tyler. Chris Littlejohn, how crucial is it for high school baseball if your son's high school doesn't have baseball? All right, these are two great questions. Are the days of staying at one college all 4 years or 5 years? I'm going to start there with Jason. Are the days of staying at one college for 4 years over? My opinion on that is, unfortunately, I believe until rules are made where we limit the number of transfers, which I don't know if that will stand up, unfortunately, with regard to litigation, which is what we're all, if we're really being honest, that's where a lot of the concern is that college coaches and NCAA, NAIA, not so much, are concerned over potential litigation. But I think, yes, the direct answer to your question is I think that a lot of athletes, I think we're going to be looking at 5 years. So, Jason, I'm going to answer your question. I think a lot of athletes, Division III, I think you're going to start to see, which is going to be my discussion next week on postgraduate schools reclassification and the role that is going to play moving forward with regard to college athletics. And it's going to be a very big role indeed. But I think you're going to see a lot of athletes going into college with some college hours. I think you're going to start to see a lot of academic orientated student athletes taking and getting an undergraduate degree in 3 years or less. And so Division III may move up to Division I. I think it's going to become a very plausible discussion point that getting your undergraduate and your graduate degree within your college athletic career is going to be doable, attainable. And I think that's going to play an integral role with college athletics as we move forward. And I think more parents need to pay specific attention to that because, again, 90 to 95% of all college athletes are not going to generate life-altering income via their sport of choice, particularly baseball and softball. And so if we're playing the long game, which is what I stress when I'm working with families, I have a couple of athletes I've been working with now for over 5 years, 4 years, and now they're into their graduate years because of these extra years of eligibility. And that's saving them a significant amount of money. So if we're all being honest, and we're able to, allow our children, our student athletes, to derive that big boy benefit of an undergraduate and a graduate degree, or significant hours towards your graduate degree, while playing college athletics and earning scholarship or earning merit money or grant money towards that graduate degree. That's a winner in my book. So yes, Jason. Now I want to answer our next question because I think it is a good one, and thank you, Chris. How crucial is it for high school athletes? Now, there are families that do homeschooling, and I've met a lot of them over the last calendar year. And there are a lot of high school programs, unfortunately, that are going the way of hockey up here in the Northeast and in the Midwest, that several decades ago saw a significant decline in signups at the high school level because of junior hockey, and obviously travel baseball and some of these leagues that have popped up. These, I call them fictitious high school leagues, that have cropped up throughout the South, and IMG and things like that, where you're paying a ridiculous amount of money to play high school ball, but they no longer have an affiliation with a community or a city or town and so forth. I would say it's not critical. It's tremendously beneficial to get your reps. I'm a huge believer in the camaraderie that high school athletics provide. Camaraderie within a community, camaraderie within a building, a high school, with friends that you've grown up with. I'm a big believer in that, and I think that it's just sad that adults within the world of business try to say to a family, you don't need that high school. Come to our school. You only have to take 3 hours of online classes. And then we have the best hitting coaches, the best pitching coaches. What are we doing, to a 14 through 18-year-old? You're taking away vital years and relationships, all for the false pretense of maybe playing in college, a frighteningly incredible long odds to play professional. I mean, if anybody looks at you as a parent and says, "Oh yeah, if you come to our school, we have former MLB scouts and college coaches, and we're going to give you your student athlete is going to become a guaranteed college player." You are not any better off going to any of those schools than you are a high school within your driving distance of your community, any school within your general geographical area. I'm promising you, that is a load of BS. Quality, high grade, high octane BS. Period. Exclamation point. It is so hard to play in college. It is so frighteningly hard to play professional. I don't think enough parents or athletes understand how minimal professional money is. It's not life altering for the vast majority of those that sign in later rounds. And for the most part, you get in, you're churned and burned, and then you're spit out for the new and improved version that happens each and every year in the draft. So it's not critical. It does help. If you don't have a local high school team, my number one suggestion is go to your state, ask if you can get a waiver to play at a neighboring city or town. Lots of athletes do that. Lots of homeschool athletes do that. But if you have no access to high school athletics and your only option is travel ball, there's a lot of great travel teams that you can participate from the months of June through October. And so that's always going to be available. Now, for the folks in Arizona, wait, and I do want to get this out here because I think this question comes up, and I really want to make sure that I answer that. Let's talk about weight and all things being relative. I need you to understand that there are athletes. Trey Turner comes to mind. There are Dansby Swanson, who's now with the Cubs, played at Vanderbilt. Trey Turner, Team USA, NC State. I believe he's now with the Phillies. Those guys, that are the tall, wiry guys, they are the exception. They are not the rule. And I always try to let parents know, you may have a student athlete that's 5'9", 5'8", 5'10", 5'11". This is not about height, because for every Jose Altuve, there's a Cal Ripken. For every Cal Ripken, there's an Alex Bregman. And so when you look at these athletes, I will tell you, generally, by and large, high school athletes that are going to be between, let's call 145 and 175 ish, not going to open eyeballs. Now, I say that if you're a left-handed pitcher and I bring up Tim Collins, you can Google any of these names that I pull out of a hat, by the way. Tim Collins was 5'6", maybe 5'7". He might have been 165, left-handed pitcher that just could dot a fastball at 95 with it. And he was just an exception. He wasn't the rule. But I always try to tell parents that each year, and I always try to give parents, the rule of thumb is if you try to gain 10 to 15 pounds of muscle or strength throughout each year of high school, that's a good measuring tool. I would say to you, if I do have some charts, and I'm going to stick those in the description, I give you the average catcher. The average catcher, I don't want to put a height out there, but it's going to be somewhere around 185 to 205, 210. Infielders are generally going to be in that. The middle guys are generally going to be in that 185, 195 window. There are exceptions. Corner guys, corner bats, first, third, right, and left, generally going to be in that 210. That 195, 210. There are guys that are 225 and above. If you look at the LSU Grand Canyon transfer from, and he's now at LSU, left-handed hitter. If you think of Daniel Vogelback, you think of the big hefty lefties. He fits the bill. I think he comes in a little over 250, but man, can he rake. So size or weight doesn't necessarily correlate with strength. But if we're working with regard to nutrition, strength simultaneously, one is equal to the other, size, strength. Anytime you can get north of 180, that's always a positive. Now, here's the biggest myth that so many parents live under and are being told and misled. So let's call this a fib, a white lie, that the bigger your athlete gets, the slower your athlete is going to get. Now, whether I'm talking with Ben Fairchild, Mike Reinold, Eric Cressy, I can just tell you this. The stronger your lower half and core are, the faster your athlete is going to run. Don't fall for that. The bigger guys move slower stuff. My son, Tyler, 6'3", 6'4" in spikes, probably was 215 in college. And he was one of the fastest guys on Vanderbilt next to an outfielder that was Roe Coleman. He could run a 6'6", 6'7". On a good day, he might be sub 6'6". He was a big dude, but he was an athlete, and he always trained to be an athlete. He was a football player, basketball player, a baseball player. So my point is, don't get consumed with, okay, if I get too big, I'm going to get slow. No, that's not true. You have to train as an athlete. And more, I am hearing from coaches, high school, college, they are looking at the athletes that are getting into and involved and engaged with a real strength program earlier in their processes. Just going to tell you that was a big topic, huge topic. Those athletes that are integrating the nutrition, the strength, the speed on top of the skill, they are the ones that seem to be gravitating towards, the eyeballs of the college coaches. And I want to emphasize something before I answer questions, and thank you so much for these questions. I absolutely love them. When you are thinking college, let's just talk about this out in the open. You're a parent, you're a student athlete, and you're saying, Coach, what about recruiting? What about recruiting? I want to get my son wants to play in college. I can't emphasize this any more strongly. Major League Baseball is going to get deeply involved with college athletics. And the sooner that we as an industry begin to share that, don't hide it, don't try to, I have the secret potion no, it's not a secret. It's a fact. It's going to happen. So what can you do about it? Start now. Start yesterday. Create your plan. Create your plan with whoever you trust. Go to them and get them to get your son, your student athlete, your daughter to understand. Make your routine as transferable as possible so that you go from junior high school into college. The only thing that changed is the geographics. Everything else is just a smooth trans, you're making that transition from middle school to high school to college, and your routine moves. Have your plan. Identify your weakness. Jordan Tuhig, work on side, build on side. Get your journal. Have a work on side. Have a build on side. Take notes. Focus on that side that you have to work on. Hone what you have to build on. That's an integral part to development. All right, let's go down the list. Thank you for these questions. These are so great. How would you encourage? Now, I get these questions now more and more. And I really want to spend some time on this because whether I agree with it or not, and I want you to understand as a parent, man, oh man, I was a single parent. I had my sons, and at the time I was a college head coach. And like a dummy, I couldn't take the college hat off and put the dad hat on and the dad hat off and the college guy on. So a lot of times my boys had to deal with the coach dad. And I want you to understand the critical years. And I'm going to say this. I'm speaking to Trevor in Mississippi, but I am going to say this to every parent that finds their way to this video. Hear me loud, hear me clear. The critical years for athletic development as a college student athlete are 13 to 15. You heard me talking with Cole, and you heard me talking with Anthony and their parents. They started working with me when they were 11 and 12. They are now 15 and 16. One is 175, one is 192. They look the part because they have paid the dues when it mattered most. You can't swallow a pill. You can't digest a powder. You can't trust a guru from the ages of 16 to 18. In 2 years, try to condense 6 years of training into 2 years. It can't be done. Your body, their bodies can only withstand and hold what they're capable of holding. You must feed the engine each and every day of every week, of every month, of every year. Starting at 13, show them what it looks like. Doesn't mean, hey, if they miss a day, it's okay. If today it doesn't feel like they don't feel at their best, it's okay. But we have to learn that it begins at 13 and 15. And we have to understand at those ages, it's important to understand there's hurt and then there's sore. Are you injured or are you sore? Because there's a big difference. And we have to kind of understand what that feels like and work and push through soreness the right way. And if we're injured, we have to give our body time to heal, our time to recover, our time to replenish. But the critical ages for development are 13 through 15. The next critical ages are freshman through junior year, not sophomore year. The next critical ages are freshman through junior year. You can't rush development. If they're not ready as a junior, don't lose hope. Don't diminish their spirit. Don't blow out their candle by saying, Jimmy got recruited as a junior. Why isn't Johnny getting recruited? He's just as good as Jimmy. Maybe his body has not gone through the internal growth. Maybe, just maybe, his body is going to bloom. But if he puts all the work in, all the nutrition, all the sleep. Do you know that sleep and hydration, for the most part, are free? Do not cost you a penny. But yet, we don't talk enough about that. And parents are bored. You're bored silly about sleep. I can't tell you how many strength coaches I talk to in Columbus, a lot of them. And they all say the most neglected area of athletic development is that our athletes don't put the phone down. They don't get their 8 to 10 hours of sleep. They're working on somewhere between 5 and 7 hours of sleep. Sleep is free. Just rearrange your schedule. Go to bed a little earlier. Do meal prep on one day and put everything in the fridge. Have a better schedule. Scheduling is the biggest part of the top 3 things that we discuss when I'm working with parents. Scheduling. Before we start talking about skill set and foot speed and all this other stuff, I tell all parents, we gotta work on scheduling. You got to understand what it looks like. You got to understand what your daily routine and your scheduling looks like. Because if nobody's talking to you about scheduling, I'm going to hit you over the head with it until you learn that's the most integral detail that you need to get your student athletes to understand. Don't put off. Don't be someone that says, I'll do that tomorrow. Oh, I'm going to get to that next week. No. When you are a scheduler, and the earlier you get your athletes to understand this, the better prepared they will be. Okay, final questions. I'm on that final minute of trying to stay within an hour. Okay, so, and Russ, Trevor, I hope I got that for you, and you're very welcome. I'm looking forward to visiting with you in Arizona, by the way, when I'm out there, and I'm really looking forward to Arizona. What specific skills do you think high school players need to improve the most before playing college baseball? Zach, thank you very much. I'm going to get to all of these questions are great. Zach, if I could tell you one, I'm going to give you 2 answers to that. The first one is strength. You must be on par with the college athletes. You must begin to understand, if you're the parent of a student athlete and you know for a fact, you are convinced beyond a shadow of a doubt that your student athlete has the grit, the passion, the desire to play college athletics. If you are 100% certain that that is a fact, you must understand, you must get them on par with athletes that are 2 years older and above. Don't worry. Don't look to your left and your right. That's not your windshield. That is not your windshield. You need to understand your windshield is currently in a college locker room right now. They're a freshman and sophomore in college, or they're a senior in high school and your student athlete is a freshman. Guess what? When the bell rings for your freshman as a senior, he's competing with that former high school senior who might have delayed entry, might have done a gap year, and now he's only 2 years above your student athlete. You need to be as strong, as fast as that college athlete. Do not compare yourself to the high school athlete. It doesn't matter where your student athlete's skill sets match up against other high school student athletes. They have to begin to understand the competition is the stronger, faster, seasoned student athlete who has a resume at the collegiate level. As far as skill set, pitching, you must be able to throw strikes. Doesn't matter, even though you guys that want to come off the top, and I saw them all in Columbus, selling velocity trainers, velocity university, Dr. Velocity. You can't mix in a strike. Velocity, I could care less about. I could care less. The number one tool that I saw at the ABCA, and I'm going to get to this next week, is change-up circle. It's a great tool, training tool, but you need locate strikes, glove side. You need to be able to dot and command your fastball and throw a secondary on top of that. As a hitter, limit your swing and miss. Be able to put bat on ball. Don't worry about exit velocity if your swing and miss metric is massively high. We are missing that completely. You're being told a lie if all you're doing is trying to train for bat speed and exit velocity and all these other gadgets and gurus that are trying to teach you to swing and drop your elbow and all this slot nonsense. If your swing and miss ratio is absolutely abysmal in high school, it's not going to get better in college. Next, make the routine plays. If you're a high school athlete, make the routine plays. Nobody's going to care about your arm strength that costs a diamond if you're booting balls, and you have to make sure, if I'm an outfielder and infielder, make the routine plays. Just make the routine plays. Be consistent. Limit your swing and miss. Be consistent. Throw strikes. Sounds simple, but we're not being told that those are the important things. Think about that. As you're watching me, think about all the things that the kids see on social media. Velocity, exit velocities, the top exit velocities. College coaches are looking at, when I go to watch them in high school, what's their swing and miss like? What's their approach? Are they making the routine plays? And oh, by the way, when I go to watch a shortstop, in between innings, if he's just going to lob it across the diamond and not show me what the arm looks like, how will I know if a ball doesn't get put in play at the shortstop's direction? How will I know what the outfielder's arm looks like if there's no fly balls to right? That's why in and out, all that stuff matters. So I would tell you, if you want the one golden rule, and I do this with every single athlete that we work with, I tell them all, it's a village. It's a village. We create a village so that you understand as a student athlete, strength, size, speed, skill, they all matter. Don't focus on one with all the others. Bradley, yeah, college baseball is truly a business. I mean, I can't emphasize that enough. It's a business. It's a big boy business. And the sooner that you as parents understand, nothing personal, it's nothing personal. It's a big boy business. And there was a college football coach that I met, and he said, if my livelihood depends on wins and losses, I cannot solely focus all of my attention on the high school athletes. I'm not doing my family justice. I'm not doing my program justice. I'm not doing my school justice. So today, your takeaway is when you're in high school, all 4 years, they have to matter. And rather than focusing on exposure, listen to the high school coaches when they're telling you, hey, this might be optional, these workouts, but they may help you. So make sure you're getting a schedule and you're getting a routine. Tony, how do you see colleges using JV teams? Okay, this is a great question. How do I see colleges utilizing JV programs, freshman programs, developmental programs, whatever we want to call them? They are definitely going to become an integral part of college athletics. Most Division III, most Division II, most NAIA, most JUCO, they have some form of a JV/developmental roster. Do I think that's going to come to Division I baseball? I do. I don't know how soon that will happen, but I absolutely do think that will become a part of Division I baseball. It has to, if we're all being honest, because we have to have a way to help with the development of high school athletes. I'm a huge believer in that. And if that's a narrative that I can push forward throughout this year and beyond with regard to the committees that I sit with and talk to, I think that Division I baseball definitely does need some form of developmental rosters, and I do believe that will become a part of the Division I landscape, just as big of a deal as it has at the other levels and divisions. Of great question, Tony. Right, high school kids need to be creating production, all conference, all state, all. One thing I want you to understand is that college coaches are looking at athletes at the high school level from the minute they come off of a bus. Now, I get so many adults that want to say, yeah, like if that guy hits 400 and hits 25 home runs, like he cares about his attitude. I got a news flash for you. College coaches, those days of some kid being a punk, a flat out punk, do they exist? Yeah, not as big as they used to, not as much as they used to, because now these roster spots are so valuable, so valuable. Think about it. For some kids, it's like a little livelihood. There are some athletes, especially at the higher level schools, they're not going to want to jeopardize that income and that opportunity, because without college, the days of playing Major League Baseball, professional baseball, are slim and none. And let me tell you, one of the biggest businesses that will occur, bookmark this, in 2026 and beyond, and I'm working on one of them. Summer baseball, summer college baseball, big business. Book it. That is going to become an exploding. They're going to take over minor league markets. They're going to take over major markets that don't have professional teams. I'm just telling you, Pacific Northwest, California, even Florida, Texas, Midwest, Omaha, Missouri, Branson, Missouri. college summer baseball is going to become big boy business. You need to prepare for that as a family. Okay, let's wrap up. Scott, thank you so much, Scott. I truly appreciate everything. Your kind words on social media. I am tremendously grateful and blessed and humbled. Trevor, thank you so much. And so I'm going to wrap this up. First and foremost, couple things. And as parting, I would really appreciate it if you've watched it for tonight, or if you've watched the channel for any length of time over the last 4 years. Again, I say thank you. But now I'm going to be asking for your help specifically with regarding to growing the channel, but more importantly, the community. One message that resonated so loud with me over the last week is there are a lot of people that took the time to come up and say hello. There are a lot of people that pulled me off to the side and shared some things privately. And trust me, I hear your words. I am deeply appreciative to those words. I am humbled and grateful. But one of the things that I want to do is build a huge community. And that's going to happen. We're going to be working with some other people within the recruiting space. Now, when I say that, parents start to think, well, how much money is that going to cost? That's not the point. The point is we're going to put together people from the West Coast, the Midwest, Canada. We're going to put people, and we're going to start talking more openly and candidly and being available to you, all of us, together as a community. So the more that we can grow the channel, the more information that we can give to you free, writing more books that can help you, not to sell, to give to parents, in the form of audiobooks, little manuals, and things that you can keep and you can have as part of the community, not that you have to pay. So one of the things that we're going to try to do is build more content. The content that we created, that we were able to get in Columbus, was massive. And we're going to share that with you via the platforms of YouTube and X and Facebook and Instagram for free. All that you have to do is watch. So by helping the community grow, by watching the videos, by watching the videos in their entirety, not obviously these hour-long ones on Tuesdays, but the Coach's Corner. Boy, oh boy, do we have some great college coaches joining the Coach's Corner. But we're also going to be doing the daily duel, the Diamond Duel of the Week. We're going to be doing that show on the road. We're going to be going to NAIA schools, JUCO, high school, Division II, Division III. We're going to talk with coaches. We're going to see locker rooms. We got a lot of great content ideas, and you're going to be able to see it. All that you have to do is watch and listen and share your opinions, share your feedback. What do you want more of? What do you want less of? But I need your help. So here's the deal. In 2026, our goal is going to be 100,000 subscribers on both X and YouTube. That's our start. And our start is to build the community and share more content, more information, more value. That's what we want to do. Need your help. Share it with people in your community. Send more emails, send more comments, engage. Anytime you see social media, just engage. Go over to the YouTube channel, engage, hit a thumbs up, leave a comment. If it's a short, watch the short in its entirety, leave a comment. I have Jeremy Fouts. He joins me. Proline, they're going to be joining me. We want to be able to bring you quality, not just quantity, quality. So when I'm out traveling, my wife and I are going to be traveling around the country. We're going to be going into college communities. We're going to be going to high school games. Looking forward to going to New Orleans and watching John Curtis maybe play Jesuit. We're going to be going down to Florida, maybe watching Fort Walton Beach, and playing some of their games. We're going to be going out to Texas, Kingwood, Grand Oaks, all of those types of schools, even out into the West Coast, Arizona, even the Pacific Northwest. We're coming to you, but we need your help. We need you to engage and help us build the community. So anything that you can do to help spread the word, I am greatly appreciative. I would love for you to just find your way over to YouTube and join, subscribe. It's free. Just hit the subscribe button. Also, thumbs up and a comment. If the more people that comment, the more the algorithm begins to produce and push out the content. So I want to say thank you to everyone that takes the time to join me on Tuesdays. I love your questions that come in via email. I hope that I've answered them all. If you haven't heard from me, it's because of two things. One, I was in Columbus at the ABCA, and I was there, and we probably worked a good 36 of the 48 hours. And secondly, for those of you that have reached out, and I see some of the comments, my mother-in-law passed away while I was in Columbus. We just wrapped up our wake and our funeral today. So it's been a hectic 72 hours. But if you haven't heard back from me, I absolutely will take the time to make sure I reach out to you. And again, continue to send your questions. It's baseball season, folks. The colleges have started. Many of the high schools are starting here in the frozen tundra. I know we'll get started in greater New England. Devin, we're coming to North Carolina. Okay. Gloves. I want to let somebody know. I am going to be doing the kickoff dinner at Gardner-Webb University on January 24th. You like Mason Miller, flamethrower, back end of the bullpen, now with the San Diego Padres, formerly the Oakland A's. He was an attendee of Gardner-Webb. I believe he graduated in 2021. He's going to be the guest speaker at their first pitch event, January 24th. So I'm coming to North Carolina here in a couple of weeks, and we're going to have some of the crew. We're going to media backstage. We're going to see the facilities, the amenities, all things related to the community in Shelby, North Carolina, in that greater Shelby area. Obviously, the Gardner-Webb campus. So I will be coming to North Carolina. If you want me to come to your game, we're going to have some events. We're working with Chinook Seeds. We're working with a few different vendors. But Chinook and I, if you're a sunflower seed freak like I am, and I like dill pickle, by the way, and they're coming out with a new one, Parmesan, I think honey garlic, but the new one. But Chinook Seeds and I, you tell me the game of the week in your area. College, high school, summer, we'll do a travel. We're going to go out and spread and talk baseball. You want me in your area? You want Coach Beede and the crew to come down, the Blue Book crew? We're coming to your area. And we might have some Pro Line balls to give away, some Chinook seeds to give away, but we're coming to your area. And so, Mr. Smith, you can look for us. We'll be in your neck of the woods. And let's kick off 2026 together. Thank you. And next week, we're going to talk about post-grad and reclassification. That's probably one of the top discussion points that I was asked about this past weekend. Look forward to talking with you then. And stay tuned for this week's Coach's Corner. I believe we have Jordan Tuhig, University of Hawaii.